All right, so this is a technical assistance webinar for the Family Child Care Home Improvement Grant through ECCLA. So we are going to go over the application, how to get on, things like that, and then we'll have a chance for questions. Feel free to pop questions in the chat too, if you have something while we're going over it, and then I will get to it at the end. So first, you're going to want to go to awards.eclacolorado.org, and you're going to create a username and password. And then once you get in, you'll see your dashboard. You can see some of the applications that I've done or started. So all of your applications always be right here. You can view, download, withdraw if you want to. So you'll go to create, and here we have all of our different scholarships and grants that we have. So you'll click on the Family Child Care Home Improvement Grant and click create. And you're going to come to this screen, which is a consent to electronic communication, as you will be filling out the application online, sending in all of your reports online, a lot of email and things like that. So you have to click accept, save. I would, no. And then you can go to the next one, and then you're going to put in your name and your email address, and then a business email address if it's different. If it's not, just put in the same thing. And then if you're a family child care program, you'll put yes, even if you are not up and running yet and you are just getting ready to open one, you still want to select yes. Are you licensed in good standing through the Office of Early Childhood? You'll say yes or no. If you're in the process, if you're getting ready to open a new home, you'll say in process. And then have you received a Family Child Care Home Improvement Grant in the last 12 months? So if you've received this specific grant in the last 12 months, if you have, you're not going to be eligible at this point. If you have not, you're going to select no. And just make sure that you read through all of these questions. If you hit no to the first two or yes to the last one and then hit save, it'll automatically make you ineligible, and we will have to go back and I will have to go in and fix it so that you can get back in. So hit save, and I would hit save after every tab. You'll see these other tabs that come up. For some reason, if you get kicked offline or something happens, you just want to make sure that it has saved where you left off so that you don't have to start all over. So you'll also want to make sure that you have a green check mark after every tab. If there's not a green check mark, that means something's missing and it won't let you submit. Okay. So here you're going to go into your applicant information, and it's all anything with a red asterisk after it is required. So you do have to fill in those parts. All right, so your phone number, your address, and then you notice these don't have red asterisks after them, so you don't have to fill them out unless someone else is filling this out for you. So if you have a counsel person or a coach helping you, you would want to enter their information if you want them to have access to this as well. And then if your mailing address is different than your physical address, you're going to want to check yes or no. This sometimes happens in the more rural areas where you have a PO box. So if your mailing address is different than your physical address and you check yes, it's going to ask you for that information so that you can put that in. And then you're going to want to check if you rent or own. Keep in mind, if you rent, you do have to have a letter of support from your landlord or the person you're renting from. If you're asking for $2,500 or more, saying that the project is okay. And then if you're opening a new program, you're going to check yes or no. And then we want to know what county you're in. Here's the drop down here. So it kind of lets you know your child care license number. If you're in process and you don't have a number quite yet, you can just put that in there. And then it's going to want a copy of your license. So if you're in the pre-licensing phase, this is where you're going to put anything that relates to that. Your Colorado Shines level. If you are licensed in the state of Colorado, you're automatically a 1, but there is 1 through 5. So you'll just pick which one you are at. If you are opening a new program, just pick 1. Your license capacity, and then your current enrollment, birth through 5, and then birth through 12, and then the year you opened. If you are in the process of opening a program, you're going to want to put the year in which you plan to open. And then if you have any accreditations, NACCE, National Association for the Family Child Care, anything like that, you would want to put here. If not, you just put NA. You notice there's a red asterisk. And then the number of months your program is open during the year. And then you want to select if you're profit or nonprofit. And then it's going to ask you for the number of infants you have, the number of toddlers you have, number of preschoolers, and then number of school agers. Keep in mind, this grant is only for children birth through 5. So within your project, you want to make sure the majority is serving those age groups. And then it's going to ask you if you accept families participating in the Child Care Assistance Program, also known as CCAP. If you put yes, it's going to ask you how many. If you do accept them, but you don't have any, you just put 0 there. Any participating in the Colorado preschool program, if you put no, you don't get the box that comes up. Denver preschool program, those are for those providers living in Denver. And then if you accept families participating in other programs, and if so, what are they? So we have a lot of them that do Head Start, or they offer their own type of scholarships for families. If you adjust tuition based on income and things like that for your families, you're going to want to put that in here. And then we want to know how many are dual language learners, how many may be experiencing homelessness, how many children in your program have special care needs, which can include a disability, IFSP or IEP, and then how many children would not identify as white. So you will put those numbers in there. Keep in mind, even if you put 0 across the board, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get the grant. It doesn't mean you're ineligible. A lot of this is just for our tracking. And with this grant, there are priorities set for those family or those programs that do serve higher need populations. So if it comes down to, there's not enough money and we're trying to decide between a couple of programs, we're going to look at the one that the program that has the most need. But this doesn't make you ineligible. This is not saying you're not going to get the grant. All right. So like I said, just make sure you save. And it'll tell you that. And then we're going to go into the narrative portion. So here, tell us about your program. So we want to hear about your mission, your philosophy, about the children, the families and community, and what sets your program apart. So you just want to go ahead and type in here. There's no minimum or maximum. You can type as much or as little as you want, as long as, you really speak about your program and what sets you apart, your community. Remember, there's about 8 people reading these grants, so you really want to give them an idea of your program. And then the next narrative, we want you to explain how this project may increase your capacity or help maintain your program. Barriers you may be facing as a childcare provider. These barriers don't necessarily mean the barriers these project will be causing, but it could be any barriers that you're facing as a family childcare provider. Is your funding needed to keep your program open or help you increase capacity? And then if you're starting a new childcare program, what hurdles are you facing to ensure the program will open? So this is a really important narrative. It's your opportunity to make a compelling case for the need of your project. So you're really going to want to speak to how this project is going to affect your program and help you in the future. You don't have to answer all of these questions. They're kind of just there to guide you in what you would want to write about. So just keep that in mind. And then your project narrative. So we want to know about your project, and this includes the anticipated timeline. So we really want to know what you plan on doing, how long it's going to take, just so we, as we're reading the grants, can understand your vision. And then we need at least three before photos. So, and I'm just putting anything in here. And it's always going to tell you that when you upload something, kind of lets you know, but you can see as they're coming in there. So you can do these photos in JPEG, PDF. Some people do put a whole bunch of pictures in a Word document and then attach it that way. As long as you have the 3 attachments on there, that's fine. So if you have more than 3, I suggest combining them into one file and attaching it that way so that we can get all of your pictures. So then we're going to save. If you haven't filled out something on there, like I said before, you'll notice the green check is there. If it's not there, that means that last page isn't complete. Okay. So then we're going to go to the budget. So here you're going to want to list your project budget items. So, whatever you plan on spending your money on, we want to know the project cost. Okay. And then you can put in, if you are doing a project where you're buying toys, let's say you're opening a new program and you need cribs and you need toys and things like that, we want you to upload a photo of those things so that we can see them. We have a lot of licensing specialists. Those are familiar with Colorado Shines and things like that. So we can ensure the equipment is safe. You can add rows if you need to. You can add up to, I believe, 10. So you can add rows if there's more things. If you have more than 10 rows, you can combine certain things together that kind of made sense. So if you need nails and screws, you could add those together and then put the total cost in there if you have more than 10 rows. And then we want to know your total project cost and the total amount requested. You can request up to $5,000, okay? So you can do more than one project. If you do more than one project, I would use the budget explanation to kind of explain which project is the most important. So if we weren't able to fund the full $5,000, which project do you want funded over that? You can put that in the budget explanation. Also, if your project costs more than $5,000, I would use the budget explanation portion to explain how you're going to come up with the rest of the funding, whether it's another grant, money from your savings, anything like that. We just want to make sure that if we give you the $5,000, you're going to be able to complete the project if it costs more than that. So we want to know that you have the additional funding. If it's pretty straightforward and you don't need any explanation, you can skip this box. It's not required. So here we need bids. So we need at least 2 bids for your project. It can be 2 different bids. So if you're doing a bathroom project and you have a bid for the plumbing and a bid for the flooring, those could count as your 2 bids. If you're doing a project that doesn't require bids, or you're going to put in a fence on your own, something like that, then what I would do is just take pictures of what you're planning on purchasing and upload those as the bid documents. So that way you have something there because it is required. So let me just show you, after I saved it, you notice that there's not a green check mark. So I'm going to go back and see what I may have missed, and it is my bid uploads. So I'm going to put those in there. All right, I'm going to save again. There we go. So now I have the green check mark. So the last is the affidavit. So this, just want to read through it. So you're attesting that everything in the application is valid and true, that your organization is licensed and in good standing, You understand that all expenses made with this grant will meet applicable code and licensing requirements. You acknowledge that ECCLA may verify any and all information obtained in the application, including your licensing history and status. Also, this is to let you know that a 6-month progress report and a 12-month completion report are requirements for acceptance of the grant. So if you are selected for an award, the information and photos, also, if you're selected for a grant award, the information and photos shared in the progress and completion reports may be used for marketing and communication purposes. So this is, if we want to show before and after, any reporting we do to our funders, things like that, you acknowledge that this will be used. So by signing below, you accept. So you're going to accept that. This is just the electronic signature consent. So you acknowledge that you are signing electronically. If you decline, over here, you will see the FCCH signature page. You'll need to download that, sign it, and then attach it. So if you click decline, you'll see right here where you can upload a file. So you would, I'll show you what this looks like. I'm not sure where it's going to open. So that way you can get this page. Let me get it. It's still opening. My computer has to verify. Come on, friend. All right. Well, it's not bringing it up. So either way, it's just something you can print. There it goes. It's just a simple Word document. So you can print this out and sign it, and then you'll want to save it back to your computer. And then you're going to upload it right here. If you accept, you're just going to sign your name and you're going to select the date. And then right here, so we use emails that come in here through our general mailing list. We email probably once every couple months, if that. It updates you on our scholarships, our grants, anything ECCLA is doing, as we are a statewide organization. If you don't want to be on that mailing list, you would just check right here, and that way we know not to add your email to that list. We never sell it. It never gets sent to third parties. It stays within ECCLA. So then you're going to save. So now you can see all of these are green. So you can submit as final. If you try to hit submit as final and none of those green check marks are up, it won't let you submit. It will tell you that you haven't completed the application. So now you can see here it's submitted as final. You can download the application and look at it, copy it, print it, whatever you want to do. And this is telling you the deadline is actually May 1st at midnight. This says May 2nd, just to ensure that the portal stays open so that you can get your application in. I would say to do it as soon as you can. Sometimes there's technical glitches or errors that may happen. And if you're waiting until 10:30 the night before, nobody's going to be able to get in and help you get it submitted. So I would do it sooner rather than later. When you go back to your dashboard, you will see here that your grant is here. The status is final. However, if you want to add something or you forgot something, you can go into edit and you can go in and change whatever you want. If you close out of this and you log out, you can log back in and it'll show you the same thing, and you can go in and edit it if you want to. You can also download it from here. If you are awarded, what will happen for your 6-month and 12-month is you will get a reminder, but you will come back to this portal, and right here is where you will see it, and you will click on your 6-month report or 12-month when it's there. So you will click on that and complete it, and it's about the same process. All right, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, this is Pam. I have a couple. I'm with a council and I have questions on behalf of a provider who's working on an application but wasn't able to make this call today.
Okay.
We read that reimbursements weren't fundable, but can purchases be made after the grant is submitted but before it's awarded? Because like
They
this project has to happen anyway, but just didn't want to pre-purchase too soon.
Right. So that is still considered a reimbursement, and that's just something
Okay.
put on us by the funders.
Okay.
So once she gets that award letter, she can buy whatever she wants because she
Okay,
knows the
perfect.
money is coming. Yeah.
And then just a recommendation, I guess, if you could give one, she's looking for shade structure. She had diseased trees that all completely had to be removed. She's looked at commercial shade structures, but would ideally like to plant trees, has been doing some work with Echo, and she didn't know if trees that didn't necessarily provide the immediate shade that would replace what was removed, if that would inhibit the application versus a shade structure that's commercial and is going to do the job right away versus the trees being more sustainable and long-term. Does that impact it at all?
It doesn't. I would just have her make sure, because shade is required by licensing, that they're okay with
Yes.
that. So
Yes.
if they're okay with that, that's absolutely fine. I'm very familiar with Echo. I would have her put in there that she, in her narrative that she's working with them to kind of do that natural landscape. I think that will really help with that too. But as long as
Okay.
licensing is good with it, we're good with it.
And it will provide some level of shade, but not at the same level of all the trees that were removed. So,
Right. Absolutely.
okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you.
Of course. And if you guys, when you log in, when you go to awards.eclacolorado.org, you can click on this tab that says Family Childcare Home Improvement, and it will give you all of the information you need. So, the eligibility criteria is here. Here's a little bit more about the funding priorities. And this is also set forth by our funders. So obviously statewide geographic dispersion, addressing unmet service gaps, and increasing capacity and access to programs. In addition, priority will be given to applicants that serve vulnerable families and children. Please note the funding is not intended to support loss of revenue due to COVID-19 or other COVID-19 related costs. And of course, if you have any questions, you can contact me. I suggest looking right here before you start, so you can look at all of the required documentation. You can have it ready for you. And then, of course, our technical assistance webinars. This is our last one for this round. But you can also click on frequently asked questions, which will take you to a place where you can we have a sheet that we have created. So here's a lot of frequently asked questions that you can look at. Have any other questions? All right. Well, if you do happen to have any additional questions, you can always reach out to me. Email or text is always best because I'm out of the office a lot. And honestly, we have internet phone and it doesn't ring. And so then all of a sudden I have a whole bunch of messages and I feel really bad for not getting back to people. So always, if you've called and left a message, reach out again the next day, email, text, whatever, because it just means I didn't get your phone call. But if you guys have any other questions, you feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email.
How would we communicate with you through text?
So the phone number that is on the site, which I can't get to now because let me quit sharing. So the phone number that's in there, it's textable phone number. It's my business phone, but it's textable. So for some reason I get notified of those. I think it's because they come to my personal phone directly. But the calls never come through. We're switching because this is an issue for a lot of people. So internet, you gotta love it. So yeah, the same phone number you use to call me, you can text it and I will get that.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Great. Well, I will give you all back 35 minutes of your day. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.